Hello, this is Angie Rodriguez again, presenting my second technology for a signature assessment number two. So the second technology that I will be presenting on is virtual laboratories. So this past 2 years have been rough on pretty much on all of us, including educators in the elementary, middle, and high school areas. And one of those technologies that I decided to use with my ninth grade biology students during the pandemic when it started and until now is this virtual laboratory that shows my students how to use a microscope. So most of my students that were starting out school during the pandemic and we were virtual for almost a year, we didn't have the resources, of course, to go to school and actually use a microscope and to show them how to use a microscope properly. So I came across this virtual lab that shows them how to use a microscope and even presents them with some of the parts of the microscope that we can use as well. So I'm going to go ahead and present this virtual microscope laboratory. So here, just to start off, this is called the Bionetwork's virtual microscope. So it is a fully interactive 3D scope. It's a great practice tool to prepare you for working in a science lab, especially, for example, students that haven't been in the classroom or in a science classroom for a while. So it explores topics on the usage, care, terminology, and then interact with a fully functional virtual microscope. So when you're ready, challenge your knowledge in the testing section to see what you have learned. So it also gives them little quizzes and tests to see their knowledge as well. Um, it's also available on the App Store for an Apple iPad. Here they have other resources such as handouts for online classes, introduction for seated classes, microscope for mitosis. This is another lesson in biology where it would be useful to use this. Anatomy and physiology tissue review. So this is another lab that you can do with your students. It goes over general lab resources, sterile gowning procedures, virtual microscope, centrifugation. This would be, for example, more at the college level or secondary education. And then you also have the Bionetworks website available as well. So just diving into this little virtual laboratory here, it's telling us welcome to the virtual laboratory. Select an option on the menu below. So here you have, for example, a guide. It gives you a little intro to the virtual microscope. Here it talks about it a little bit. It gives you an introduction. Here it gives you an overview into the introduction of a typical microscope. Here it goes through the different parts of a microscope. So I would probably show this to my students as an introductory to the virtual lab. So here, what I like is that it shows you the virtual microscope and then it kind of zooms in on the different parts of the microscope as well. So I would probably show this to them on the interactive flat panel or the smart board that we have in my classroom. And I would also provide them the link so that they can look at it further, let's say for homework or for them to play around with and look at that as well. So it goes over the different parts again, going more into detail. For example, here's the eyepiece or the objective lenses, immersion oil lenses, microscope care, and handling, and some of the terminology. So here you can definitely test them to see, or even use other resources to help them learn the terminology of, let's say, using a microscope. Under Learn, you do have a little interactive tool to help them select the parts of the microscope and learn them. So for example, if you want to start, let's say where the eyepiece is, you click on it and it gives them a little explanation. So they can do that for each part of the microscope. I would probably put them in pairs and help them to discover all the parts of the microscope. And I do like also that it tells them what parts of the microscope they already checked off. I'm going to go back to the main menu here. For Explore, this would be used after your introduction, of course, once you introduce them to all the parts of the microscope and how to handle the microscope. So here it's telling you explore a wide variety of slides and magnification in this completely open microscopic environment. So it does prompt them to look at where you have the little question mark. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. I'm going to go ahead and click, for example, plant slides. Let's say we're going to do onion root. And this is the microscope view if you were looking at it from the eyepiece, and then you're looking at the slide down here. So here it gives you the onion root, explore the structure and details of an onion root. So after looking at the different parts of the microscope, the students would know, and I would also guide them to adjust their coarse focus and fine focus. So I'm going to go ahead and move that here. So you can see here now that I move just the coarse focus, I can see my plant or my onion root a lot better. So I move my fine focus here a little bit, adjust the light. So this would give them an experience that is very similar to looking at a real microscope in school, let's say. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust my magnification. So once you adjust, let's say the magnification from 4 times to 10 times, you're going to see the little lenses down here move. So I'm going to go ahead and click on 10 times, and there is the little lenses moving. Now you see the onion root a lot closer. You can adjust, let's say, the light, adjust the coarse focus, and there you see all of the plant cells that make up the onion root. So you can remove the slide if you'd like. Goes back over here to the main one. You can click that little box again and click on other slides that you would like to view as well. So I'm going to go ahead and back to the main menu. Now, if you're at the point where you feel comfortable, let's say where your students do know how to use the microscope, they're familiar with the different parts of the microscope and on handling it, you can give them this test right here. So let's say I want to test on terminology. Here it gives them some definitions about the different terminology. For example, let's say I want to look at the arm, and so here it tells me that I got it correct, and it tells them the rationale as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the main menu again, and then I'm going to go to options. So here on options, you can adjust the sounds, the sound effects, for example, for the volume level of the sound effects, or disable them. You can look at any guides. You can put your subtitles on as well or off. And you can also start over as well and click done. So this is a very simple yet I believe effective virtual laboratory for not just ninth graders, but even, let's say, your introductory classes, let's say, of any science, life science, or biology courses, let's say, in a community college or even at a university level for your students that are non-science majors as well. So this is another blended learning environment, emerging technology that I would definitely continue to use with my students and even students beyond high school as well. Thank you.